Hi, everyone. We have author Nadia Gilkes here, and she's going to tell us a little bit about herself.
Hello, thank you for having me. Yes, my name is Nadia Gilkes. I'm a new author. I'm also an attorney. Right now, I'm living in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I absolutely love it. Diehard Bills fan, and yeah, I love the arts and crafts. So that's kind of me in a nutshell. Anything that has to do with arts, I love it.
Okay. Las Vegas. Nice. I love it out there.
Oh, yes, it's my happy place. So I haven't moved over. I've
I
been here for
bet
4 years
it
now.
is.
I love it.
Nice. Okay. How many books have you wrote?
This is my first one. Woke Up Dead was published in August 2019. So I just celebrated my 1 year anniversary.
Congratulations and
Thank
happy
you.
anniversary. You're welcome. Are you self-published?
I am. Quite
Right.
a
How was
journey.
that process for you?
There were a lot of tears. There's a lot of sweat. I don't know if I actually bled, but I definitely got the sweat and tears. And I just didn't know what to expect. I really didn't know what I was doing. So it was a lot of learning as I go. Now that I've got it down, I actually teach a course in self-publishing so other people don't make the mistakes that I made. But it was definitely a lot. Trying to get to the book cover was a journey in and of itself. I have that video on YouTube. And trying to quote music lyrics was another daunting journey. So those are two things that hopefully the next go round are a lot easier.
Okay. And how long have you been writing?
I started writing as a kid, but it was never really nurtured. I always had that creative element. And then I really didn't do anything with it. And after my mom passed 4 years ago, I just got back into it. I had this dream, and that's where this book was birthed. And since then, I've just started picking up writing a lot more.
Okay. Did you experience any writer's block?
Sometimes,
Okay.
because my dream was actually just what became the first chapter, and I really had no idea what was going to happen after. So, in my book, this woman actually wakes up at her own funeral and she looks around and she hates everything that she sees. She's like, I have money. Why is this casket so cheap? This is not my favorite color. Why'd you put me in this dress? So she flips out. And that was essentially the dream. And I had to figure out as I go, like, what would happen as you put your life back together. So there were some moments where I was just sitting there looking at the computer screen like, I don't know what would happen next. What obstacles would come up when everybody thought you were dead. So it was fun to see how the ending came.
Okay. So tell us about the book. Show us the cover.
So here's the cover that I finally came to, which is gorgeous. I love it. It looks like a funeral wreath. And that was actually hand drawn by an artist in Austin, Erica Raven Van Dorn. So I was happy to find her after a 5 month journey of trying to get to the book cover. And yeah, as I mentioned, this woman, she wakes up at her own funeral. Everyone thought she was dead naturally, and they had acted accordingly, as many people would. So, she's got to try to go back home, but she gets home and the apartment's empty because her family cleaned her out. And, she's got to go back to work and overcome that hurdle of people treating her like, I don't know, this is totally weird. And she finally just comes to a crossroad in her life. Like, is this the life that I really wanted anyway? Because there's just so many obstacles with her family, her work, her friends. And she just decides to make some major changes in the end. So it's a really fun story, but it makes people think afterwards, which is what I really wanted. I wanted people to think of their own end of life plans and what they really want. And is that written down? Because that's absolutely necessary.
And where can we purchase your book?
It's on Amazon. It's in paperback form. You can also get the Kindle. And if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can actually download it for free through Kindle Unlimited.
Okay. And are you on social media? If so, how can we find you?
I am. I'm horrible at social media, but you can find my random postings. I'm on Instagram at Nadia.Gilkes. I'm on Twitter at Nadia Gilkes, and on Facebook at official Nadia Gilkes.
Okay. And who was your favorite character in the book?
It's really driven by the main character, and her personality is really based on my personality. Her name is Hope McKinley, and I chose that because my name means hope. So I put a lot of everything I love in this book. A lot of people walked away really hating the mother because she's a piece of work. And I thought the mother was really fun. In my mind, I have a whole cast set out in case this becomes a movie. And I think the mom is really fun, but it's just reflective of a lot of drama that happens in stories. And we have to be open to different kind of characters. So I would say Hope and the mom are kind of two of my favorites, but people have a love-hate relationship with both of them.
Okay. And is there a sequel to this book?
That's what everyone keeps asking me. I had not planned to do a sequel, but I guess I'll have to. If I did, I would love to write it with John Grisham because everybody really gave me feedback on wanting to know what happens in court because the funeral home takes no responsibility. And it's like, hello, you did the funeral and she woke up. That's not supposed to happen.
Wow.
So everybody's trying to figure out like what happens in court because she sues the funeral home, they countersue, and it's like, seriously? So I guess I'll have to flesh out a court case in the next one.
And how do you think being a writer has helped you as a person?
Well, I think it's definitely a creative outlet. I think it's definitely therapy for me because like I said, I had this dream about 6 months before my mom passed, and then I didn't really start diving into it until after she passed. So there were some situations where family members were like, I recognize that argument. So I think it was just a way for me to get emotions out and put it in a fictional dramatic format. So I think anyone that's going through anything, whether you're journaling or writing stories or writing your own memoir, it can definitely be a therapeutic process for you.
Yes, yes. And are you a reader as well?
I am. I love Stephen King. He is my ultimate favorite. Dean Koontz, John Grisham, those are my top three that stay in rotation. And this year I had a goal for myself to read a lot of autobiographies. So I've been going through a lot of that. John McEnroe, I just finished Mariah Carey's book. I just purchased Barack Obama's book, A Promised Land, and just trying to get away from that fiction horror and try to get into something with a little more depth. So trying to broaden my own horizons.
Okay. What book, if any, has the most influence on your writing?
Wow, I don't know if I can whittle it down to one book. The one book that I highly recommend my students to have is On Writing by Stephen King. Even if you don't like his genre, it's not a horror book. It's a book on the craft of writing, and he really holds it dear. And it's really a great guidebook on getting ideas, fleshing out descriptions, putting details in the book, how many, when to pull back. It's a great guideline for anyone that's setting out to write any kind of story, really. So that's probably one book that I always keep nearby, and I recommend all my students to buy it. But I love almost everything he's ever put out, so it's hard to pin it down to one book.
Is there anything else that you would like to tell us about your book?
Well, just really take to heart the stories that are in it. I really love the feedback that I've gotten. Like I said, I really wanted people to think afterwards. And when we had the book launch, we had a funeral director come in and he gave a little speech in the beginning. And my whole point was really to make you think about end of life planning. And he asked people like, how many want a funeral? And not many people raised their hand. And then it was like, do you want a memorial? Do you want to be cremated? Some people want it to be donated to science. Some people want it to be put in the earth pod. And it's like, most families are traditional. So if you have non-traditional wants and desires, it really needs to be put into writing. And if you can, pay for it in advance so there's no question on the fact that your wishes will be carried out. So that was just my dream for people to actually think. And when I had my 1-year anniversary, which is also on YouTube, there was a woman there who is currently in South Africa right now. And she said she always told her children her wishes, but she had never asked her children their wishes. God forbid she ever has to bury them. And she said, her and her daughter read this book, and that opened the door for them to have that discussion because her daughter's in her 30s. So I think it's a great conversation starter for a lot of families to just get that conversation out the way. A lot of people try to avoid it, but it really is a necessary conversation. And once you have it and get your paperwork, then you can put it in the corner. You don't have to think about it anymore.
Yes, I think it's definitely something that we need to discuss more. I know, like you said, I throw mines out there, what I want. Like, I don't want to be buried. I don't like bugs. I don't want to be next to bugs.
You know, people have very set ideas on their end of life plans, but sometimes we don't express it. Or if your family is not on board with that, they might say, you know, I'm not doing that. Because I referenced it in my book, and I say it to my family all the time, like, you know, whoever has to bury me, there better be Buffalo Bills, everything, everywhere. And one of my brothers like, I ain't doing that. And I'm like, and I will be haunting you. So just do what I say. It's my moment.
Right, right. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. Congratulations. And
Thank
I
you.
definitely wish you much continued success.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. This book sounds really good.
I
My YouTube
really
channel first.
appreciate the platform. And
All right, everyone. That was author Nadia Gilkes discussing her book, Woke Up Dead. Make sure you like this video and subscribe below.